I want to tell folks one thing, and I want you can look this up, etc. For some reason in America and actually around the world, we somehow praise, appreciate, revere people that have an extensive amount of wealth. We've been pre-programmed to believe if they have it, they probably deserve it. We never sit back and say things like it is a system that's designed to create wealth for just a few and make the others. And it sounds like cliche. And when you hear a lefty or a progressive like myself or Jack or Howard say things like that, yeah, there they go again. These people work for it. But the truth of the matter is they didn't. I'm going to mess with Howard a bit here. Howard doesn't make $1 million a year. Do you, Howard? You don't make $1 million a year, right?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay. Howard doesn't make $1 million a year. But we have a community radio station here. And for this radio station to work and get its signals over 100,000 watt transmitter, ensure that those people who stream our program on the internet from our kpft.org site gets that signal. For you to get that signal, right now I'm on YouTube. I'm doing all kinds of connections via Zoom, etc., to get the signal not only to the internet but to the airwaves on that 100,000 watt transmitter. We're doing a whole lot of stuff to get that to happen. All of that, one person right now gets all that kind of stuff done. Jack hasn't gotten his $1 million yet, I don't think. Jack Van Beber, the guy who is answering the phones and making sure that a lot of these things continue to work consistently. When Howard is out, Jack mans this stuff by himself and nobody knows what's going on. But in the background, a lot of stuff's happening to make you hear something you want to hear. That occurs also with that baker. That guy who's at that store that gets up every morning at 4:00 and bakes the bread that you get up in the morning and eat. That donut shop owner who goes ahead and makes all the donut and, the things that make society work, These people are never going to see their $1 million, right? But you have a guy that decided to go to Wharton Business School and he took, he got an undergrad degree, the same undergrad degree that a lot of people get. And then he spent another 2 years at Wharton Business School. And there's one thing he learned. And what he learned was something called capitalism. And look, I believe in free enterprise. I want to tell you, I strongly believe in free enterprise. You form your donut shop, your grocery store, all that kind of stuff. But these guys learned something else. They learned how to let capital work for them. That's how they put it. How to let capital work for them. And it's an oxymoron. I mean, it makes no sense, right? If you put a stock out there or you put $1 out there and say, okay, dollar, work for me, nothing happens. That dollar still sits there. For that dollar to work, or what you call work, there has to be a body behind it. So here you have that rich person says, and let's not even talk about how they got rich in the first place, but that rich person says, I am going to let my dollar work for me. I'm going to let my capital work for me. What that means is that somebody else is going to do the work, whether that's be me, that be Howard, that be Jack, that be the candlestick maker, that they do the work while somebody sits on their behind and wait to see how much of your excess work they can take from you. Look, I don't have a problem with profit. I love profit. You work and they get a little piece of the action because again, that is how money expands. That's how we get things. That's not a problem. But when you are predicated on making money solely from money, do you realize that the way our system works, the average worker goes out there and he does a day's work and he may make, let's say, $15 a month. And he may put, if he has a little excess savings in his passbook saving, and he'll make probably 1% if he's lucky or 2% if he's extra lucky. But if somebody has capital and stocks, they people who can afford that kind of investment, their money grow at 7, 8, 9, 10%. If you look at the stock market this year, some people double their money, that sort of thing. What I'm trying to say is that there is one economy that all of us share. All of us share in one economy. If you have most people getting just a salary and either falling behind or at best making 1% on any little bit they're able to save, but you have a group of folks who have to do no work of substance, And at the same time, their appreciation of their money grows at 7%, 8%, 10%, 20%. That pie, every year, they are taking a bigger piece of that pie. And every year, if they're taking a bigger piece, if a small amount of people are taking a bigger percentage of that pie every year, it keeps growing. That slice of that pie keeps growing because it's a closed economy. The world economy is a closed economy, not to speak of, let's say, the US economy. Don't let anybody fool you. That's what it is, right? So therefore, you continuously get poorer. Why? Because there are more of you vying for a smaller amount of the pie. We have been saying that this is a default state of capitalism forever. We have been saying that forever. Now, there are ways to modify this, right? If you want to keep that model, you have to redistribute. You have to tax the excesses out back into the system and build roads, put people through school, create something called basic incomes, give healthcare. You have to take that money back from what I call unearned income and put it back into the system. Otherwise, the system collapses, because anybody who knows integration and derivatives realize that as the wealthy derives all of their income from the rest of us, we continue to get less. And eventually we see what we're seeing now. Families that used to be able to buy one home on one salary, then they used to be able to buy one home on two salaries. Then they had to double up with many of the kids living at home to help pay the mortgage. And when the kids leave, the people bring somebody else in, or families put in together for this. I mean, it is the masses continuously adjust to having less. That is where we are today. We are constantly adjusting our lives to live with those folks who continue to take their unfair share. That's what we do. We modify the cars that we drive. We modify how much we spend. We modify what cheeses we buy. We modify all these things because somebody is taking more of the share than they used to before. That is on your back. It is by definition how the economic system works. And again, I said, if you want to keep it, you have to drastically modify it to reclaim that money back to those who it was stolen from. I mean, if somebody was doing that in a grocery store, it would be called thievery. If somebody was doing it in a abarroteria, it would be called thievery. So we have to start, first of all, understanding that we are being robbed by a particular class who controls everything. One of the reasons the right, and to some extent the neoliberal left, doesn't believe in critical thinking and teaching critical thinking in high schools and so forth is because as you sit back and analyze that you do, as you sit back and realize, wait a minute, the people who are really making this economy work, this country function, are not the people who are making all the money. You know, we have Elon Musk, the richest person in the world. I think he still is. You know, you see, let me tell you what upsets me the most. I worked for NASA for a while, and I was a senior engineer at NASA for a while. And I remember, and I used to scream about this all of the times, right? I was a peon. And all the other seniors that worked with me, we were peons. And I always remembered the executive class of the corporate, because what most of the people who work for NASA, they are really working for subcontractors of NASA. So I worked for Penn Research Corporation, Boeing, Lockheed, all these different folks, right? And you watch the exec of these companies do little. All of us are doing the work. In my case, working on the apps project, the TIFA module on the space station. And you're working all these hours, and you know the big bosses come in and they do nothing. They're the ones that get the bonuses and the salaries, etc., from the government money. You know, they get it, right? We have Elon Musk, who everybody worshipped as being rich. Of course, his electric company, the car company, wouldn't be there unless the government subsidies that he indirectly gets through the companies that make oil cars that burn fuel as an offset for him. Otherwise, he would not be rich. Good morning, Mark O'Connor, Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, and Alice Harrison Dreams from, I think, I forgot where he's from, somewhere here in North Houston. Wood. So as it turns out, folks, Elon Musk this weekend, I think it was this weekend, Friday or earlier, late last week, he shoots something up in the sky to send the module up. And then the module comes back and it opens its leg and it lands on its feet. And the mainstream media are going, hooray, look at what he has done and great and this. These are things that we have been doing for decades. We just didn't do it for the space shuttle because, well, it was efficient to just throw the stuff up into the sky and let it drop into the ocean. It was cheaper than spending the amount of time that another company wanted to say, we can go ahead and develop the retro rockets and the technology, the GPS technology to bring it and land it on the ground. But Russia's been doing it for a long time as well. They weren't landing in the ocean. They were landing just like that in the middle of the Sahara, Siberia, just like that's been done for a long time. But we see it because now it's on video from Elon Musk, and we see that rocket that put the module into orbit comes and lands on its 4 feet. And we go berserk. Look at what Elon Musk has done. Something that has been done for decades. But if we don't know that, we believe that this person has accomplished something great when he has done it all with your dollars, government dollars, and the intellect and technology of all of those people that were skimmed off of other companies that have already done this sort of stuff. Feedback control and all of that we've been doing for decades. We did it with CPUs that are less powerful than what's inside of your cell phone right now. You see, bringing back that rocket and landing on its 4, the technology required for that is less than the technology in your cell phone. But most people just see that stuff land like that and, oh my God, it is great. And then they're willing to give Elon Musk billions because they think he accomplished something. My brothers and my sisters, one of the reasons we do this, one of the reasons we want people informed, is so that you're not taken in by these fallacies of, look at what he has done. You have already paid for many other engineers that have accomplished this many times over. You see, every day you fly on thousands of airplanes. The technology in those thousands of airplanes that land, many of them on their own, is no different than the technology to land that spaceship on the ground. In fact, it has some benefits in that it's naturally stable when the retros are on, unlike an airplane who has to constantly move forward to build lift. But anyway, I'll digress for a minute to get to the calls. But before, I just want to say this rant was brought on by Jack and the wealthy. Folks, we have to create policies that return what was taken because of an economic system that is biased against the average person, biased against those who actually do the work.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.